there's a problem that has been studied for so long here in Montgomery County. It's the fact that poorer school districts get less experience or lower performing teachers. And those schools actually, it's promoting, perpetuating the cycle of poor education and less opportunities. And there happens to be almost the perfect intersection between those schools, those districts, and the immigrant communities in Montgomery County, particularly Hispanics, Black and Brown communities in general. So the question is, how can we break that cycle and incentivize good teachers to take on the challenge of schools where students are not their best and they actually need those teachers the most?
I'm so glad you raised that issue, Mauricio. There is a lot of research that shows that as teachers gain experience and they have the ability to move schools, teachers tend to leave schools serving high concentrations of students of color and low income students. So it's not just taking place here, as I'm sure you know, it's taking place across the entire country. I think there's several things that need to happen. Number one is the Maryland Blueprint gives us some ability to provide incentives, financial incentives for teachers to go and stay in Title I and focus schools, which tend to serve high concentrations of English language learners and low-income students, obviously. So that's one thing, is I think we need to leverage the Maryland Blueprint to recruit and retain the best teachers to those communities. Principals too, by the way, which brings me to the second point, which is school culture is the number one predictor of whether a teacher will stay or leave in his or her school. So really paying careful attention to that. And I can go into this for a long time, but there's a variety of ways to think about that. But we need to use school culture surveys so that we're monitoring that and we're using that as a way to drive improved culture. We know, again, from the research that schools that have higher percentages of Hispanic students tend to be rated by teachers as having worse culture. And so we need to address the cultural competence issue of teachers and administrators. I think you all know that the district is right now going through an anti-racism audit. I think that's going to provide a number of findings and recommendations that will address this issue as well. And we need to pay really careful attention and promote that research and that study. So to me, those are the key things, is to really leverage the Maryland Blueprint and to address the culture of the school, which includes cultural competence of teachers, staff, and administrators. There's no easy answers on this,
No,
right?
there
It's
isn't.
really complicated stuff, but it's the things that we need to do. This is the work. And as long as we keep a continuous improvement mindset, I feel like, we're very fortunate to live in a community, a county that is, for the most part, progressive and well-intentioned and wanting to do the right thing. And now it's just finding the tools and the processes that allow us to make that improvement.